All right, so this is always one of my favorite videos to do. I love going through the whole collection. I have done a bunch of showcase videos on my channel, but if you follow along weekly, you're always here. You'll know that showcase has kind of taken a back seat for now. I still have my work in progress Wednesdays. I still have my unboxings, but it's just been slow with the showcases because I've talked about on the channel, my garage flooded and it set me back a lot. I had a lot of stuff loaded on the scheduled on the channel, ready to go, and once I got through that, I just didn't have time to record as much as I wanted. But this is going to kind of be my hop back into more showcases with my collection. So you'll see my garage still is, like my Wednesdays, a work in progress, but I'm slowly getting back to where I want, and I figured it was a good time now to do my collection tour, because I can just show you where we're at. I can show you what I plan to work on, but for the most part, it's set the way I want it, and I'm just going to upgrade a few things here and there. So we're going to take a look first at my Marvel Legends collection here, and this is the biggest work in progress, honestly, for where I'm at with how my man cave here is gonna look. But I've got like all my Spider-Man comic. I think this is like the villains mostly. We've got a bunch of all the symbiotes, and I have worked a bit on this. Here's a bunch of Spideys. These aren't all exactly how they're gonna be. This is like my Avengers shelf. So I took this bookshelf. I don't know if this light's gonna turn on. Nope, it's dead. So what I did with these bookshelves is cut, I don't know if you'll be able to see. Nah, kinda. I cut a hole so that my larger HasLab figures would be able to just pop through there and you could see everything. And I did that too if I did it with Galactus, because these things are gigantic and I'm trying to be more efficient with my area. So you can see there, I cut through. Same thing on the bottom there. So we've got like the street level heroes, some Thunderbolts in there. There's some comics. I don't have a lot. There's like a cosmic shelf. What I used to have, what do we got here? A bunch of X-Men, X-Force, X-Factor. These are just some extra stuff. It's my X-Men area. See, we've got an Infinity Gauntlet. I'm printing off some horror movie icons. This is my Halloween Christmas tree. I'm a big horror movie fan. This box set here is not special in and of itself, but it was the last wrestling figure that my dad bought for me, and he got it when I was in college. He just saw it and thought it was cool. And it was the last one that he ever bought for me. So that's always going to be on my shelf. Let's move over here. Oh, let's see. Okay, so this is all my MCU Marvel Legend figures. So on the wall up here, so up there is where they used to be. And then I wanted to insulate it better. It just wasn't insulated well over here. So I started working on that and just haven't quite gotten to it. Yet. But I'm gonna get some wood over there, build some shelves up top. There's my new gen ring. But this whole thing is MCU Marvel Legends. Over here is the lifeblood of the channel. This is all extra parts, pieces, accessories. There's ladders. This is all paint right here. Those are the skin tone paints back there. These are stands. More paint. Here are some like smaller pieces that I just organized with this, just because it's easier. They're so little, they don't need a big bin like these. I think I got these at Walmart. Here's knee pads, hands. I try to find a specific home for everything, or else it's always a mess. Cleaning is a struggle for me. Keeping things clean is a struggle. I can clean. Keeping it clean is the hardest part. These are all extra pieces. There's some torsos, arms, tables, chairs. Let's see. All right. That's the first area here. That's like the entrance area. So we'll move on to the more fun stuff. All right, so this next corner of my garage is my recording area. So what I have is like a little triangle table that I built up in the corner of my garage. And for that, I just took some wood and put it under both sides. And then this is like I used to have a weightlifting Olympic platform that I used in my garage when it was a gym. And it's since become the man cave here, but before that, it was my garage, so I just took the scrap pieces of that to make this table here. So here we've got a box, need to unbox that. I'm a big Chiefs fan. Got some Chiefs stuff here. Long-time Chiefs fan. There's my Priest Holmes statue. We've got, where is it? I have a jersey card of him somewhere. I don't know. Somewhere up here. Anyway, I'm also a big horror movie fan. I have a lot of horror movies up here. MCU movies there. A bunch of old wrestling DVDs. I used to get all of those from Walmart. This TLC VHS right here is signed on the front by Matt Hardy. I saw him at an autograph appearance when a Toys R Us opened in my hometown. Some horror stuff up there. Just some random stuff. I have way too many DVDs at my house in general, so I brought a bunch out here. Here's a bunch of Triple H figures that'll be on Work in Progress Wednesday before too long. I gotta finish those up. Here's some Ric Flairs. I'm gonna do oh, there's my Priest Holmes jersey card. I got that when I was like 9 years old. I'm gonna make a Ric Flair from his last match. And then here's my Evolution Ric Flair. Probably, those will be on Work in Progress Wednesday eventually. So, there's the recording area. Try to keep it nice and simple. So we'll just keep going around the room. These are just some extra, these aren't, well, I mean, technically they're extra. But these are all going to be used for customs. I just haven't pieced them together. This whole box is full of figures that are ready. They're on the like standby, or they're on deck for Work in Progress Wednesday. We've got Mike Awesome here. Gonna paint that up. I put together a bunch of Kerry Von Erichs I'm really excited for. There's one. This is going to be from WrestleMania, I think. And then here's an Ultimate Edition I'm going to make of him. Rock and Roll Express. Working on these guys. Who else is readily available? Here's some Owen Harts. I'm going to work on. Bruiser Brody right here. Elijah Burke. The Right to Censor. Here's a Ricochet with no torso, or with no legs. I'm gonna make Ricochet in his AEW debut. Let's see. Oh, there's so much in here. Bully Ray. I just need to paint this head sculpt. I've had that ready to go for a long time. There's so much in here. Midnight Express. Trying to find if there's anything real cool. Here's a fun, Sting. Gonna make a Sting there. If you're a Ruthless Aggression fan, here's Chris Nowinski. Ton of stuff in there. I mean, there's probably like 100 figures just in this box alone. It's a pretty large box there. Then we have like my TV setup here. So I've got some extra bins there. I was a big Xbox fan. I have the OG Xbox here, which was the only survivor from when my garage flooded. I picked up my Xbox and water just poured out of it. I let it sit for a few days and it survived because it's awesome. This is also awesome. One of my favorite games of all time, Ultimate Alliance on the original Xbox. That is worth the price alone. I got a bunch of Xbox games in here. Ultimate Alliance is awesome. Knights of the Old Republic. Let's see, where are we? I can't find it. My favorite... Oh, here, this might be it. Well, here's the first, Knights of the Old Republic. I can't find it. Star Wars Battlefront 2 is one of the greatest games of all time. So I've got my Xbox, my Super Nintendo Mini, my PS4. My PlayStation 5 is inside my house. We got a bunch of PlayStation games there. Some old Nintendo stuff. I'm a big Pokemon fan too. I've got like all of my 3DS games are in here, I think. Nope, not that one. Hopefully they're in here. Yeah, there we go. Big Pokemon fan, I always have been. I just like collecting in general. This collecting costs a lot less money and I can do it from my couch. So there's a bunch of PS4 games. Madden is my go-to. And the Spider-Man game. There's a few, I guess. The Shadow of Mordor series. Just, I don't play as much as I used to. Those games were the bomb though. Here's where all my paints are. I need to find a better spot. They're just chilling over here. Like I said, my garage is also a work in progress. Here is the staff I'm going to use for Mordecai. I'm going to make a Mordecai custom eventually. Maybe I'll put him with Chris Nowinski, just do a bunch of Ruthless Aggression guys. Mostly Vallejo paint over here. The ones that are on the shelf are the Apple Barrel. They don't really fit on this. Here is my 3D printers. I have the Elegoo Mars DLP resin printer, and then that's like the washing and curing machine. And then I spent a lot of time, one of my projects was just venting it out straight through from my tent here outside, so it just vents like my washer or dryer would. Here you can see the whole, back it up there, you can see the whole thing. And then I do have a PLA FDM printer that uses PLA inside. I need to bring it out here. I'm gonna, so like this whole area, I'm going to just build like an L table that goes all the way across so that I can just set it all up top there and store stuff under. Oh, speaking of, this is always fun to pull out. This is my box of purely extra figures. These are all, so you can see how big it is from the side. It's a large bin. All of these are elites that I, for the most part, just haven't taken apart. So you can see, I'll dump it out so you guys actually see how many are in here. This is all, when I buy fodder bins or fodder lots, all the extras just go in this bin if I don't need them right away. Which this collection here is probably bigger than the collection I had as a kid in total. Like I never feel like I have that much extra, and then I look at stuff like this and it's crazy for me to kind of think about. There's a bunch in here. Sometimes things just get in here accidentally. I just got this recently. An extra JD McDonough. A bunch of stuff in here. Bubba, Ron Simmons over there. Ooh, use that. Ultimate Warrior. Might use that for Kerry Von Erich. I can never have too much fodder. And then I've got this bin here, so when I'm piecing things together, I'll just kind of just get all of my bins out and then piece it together. And once I have all the extra parts I don't need, I just throw them in a bin and sort them out later. And that's trash. That's just kind of what this is. It's just pieces I need to go back and sort through. And then I'll put those away in their home where they belong. This is the best method for me, instead of just trying to constantly keep everything clean, is to make a big bin, and then when I have the time and motivation, sort it all out. We can take that out, put that on someone. I sort it all out and just put it where it needs to go. And then this bin's just got like extra stuff. I'm not gonna pull it out. There you can see, that's the old Jack's Hell in a Cell. And then I've got all the pieces for that. Just like random wrestling stuff. There's some AEW fodder in there. I don't have quite as much for that. But that's like, there's my, again, my printer, kind of my TV entertainment recording setup. We got a nice Spider-Man, Venom and Carnage up there. I love this Dragon Ball Z poster. But now it's on to the, what's the word I'm trying to think of? I don't know. Time to get to why you're all here. All right, but this is why we're all here, to look at my wrestling figures. Obviously, I just showed you my Marvel Legends. I collect a lot. I collect wrestling figures and Marvel Legends, but then, like I said, I also play Pokemon. Like, I have a lot of stuff I do, but obviously the channel is all about my wrestling figures. That's what 99% of the focus is on. And you can just look down here. This is the AEW portion of the collection. Over here, this is like my old TNA, which is one of the things I want to start building out, is like prime TNA, mid 2000s TNA. There's Beer Money Inc. There's some of my like Hollywood figures that I wasn't really sure where to place those guys. Sanjay Dutt, AJ Styles, I got a few of those. And then I put ROH over here. Obviously, ROH is a part of AEW. Part of that family. There's a lot of crossover. Like there's a couple of Danhausen's, Young Bucks, obviously. Like the Jazzwares Vault stuff we've gotten, which I've really liked. I don't love the Jazzwares figures, but if they're running a deal on those, I'll absolutely pick them up. But the Nacho Libre and Escalato are some of my favorites. I love this AJ Styles. I have some other ones. I have a blue and a red attire. But I just like how that X Division title pops with the white and blue attire. There's the Jazzwares CM Punk alongside my custom I did of him in the red shorts. It was an Ultimate Edition there. I do like the Bryan. If Jazzwares didn't stain, I would rave about their cloth goods. I really like a lot of the soft good stuff they give us, like the scarf here on the Claudio. I think it's fantastic. Just the staining's so frustrating. I don't know if this work in progress once will be up. Here's my Generico and Kevin Steen there. Bugs, there's my custom Briscoes. That's a custom Danhausen I did. Just those ROH Hardys, the Outrunners, Dalton Castle. I got two shelves for AEW currently. I'll probably end up making a third. My custom Swerve. I really enjoy making elite customs of AEW figures. Like, I really like this Edge. Both of these Edge figures, which the proportions are just so ridiculous. I don't know, it frustrates me. My Alex Hammerstone, Nick Gage, Matt Cardona. Especially, Hederation helps feed my AEW and MLW, I guess, shells. That Joey Janela there is head sculpt from Head Gimmicks. Bucks here. Oh, there's my Nick Aldis custom Daniel Garcia there. I don't know, I put the belts on their heads because I was just trying to get them put in the right place. Give them two people. My custom Hangman there. Custom Bucks. I want to redo those with the WrestleMania 30, was it 40. Seth Rollins in the white pants. I want to remake those. That Takeshita I put as my #1, my favorite custom last year on my top 60 or whatever I did. Josh Alexander. Here's a Speedball. I want to make him again. The head sculpt that 3XR Studio has in his library is really nice, so I want to do that. There's that All-In Ospreay. There's a Learning Tree, Jericho and Big Bill. It's my Tony Khan. Here's everyone's favorite, the Costco guys, the Rizzler, Big Boom AJ. House of Black, I really enjoy these figures. That Will is actually a really nice figure. I thought it looked really pretty good. Custom Kyle Fletcher. Got a custom Ospreay in there. My Nigel McGuinness custom. I don't know if you guys can hear that bird. There's a bird going berserk outside right now. There's my custom Okada. Do I have? Yeah, there's a Ultimate Edition Kenny right there that I made. Custom FTR. I don't know if I even have any Jazzwares FTR figures. I was not a fan. I did at some point, I think. MJF, the Hardys. I do like those Hardys, even though I like the pants. I like the, if they just shrunk down, a lot of these, I would like them a lot more. But they're just, some of them come off very Jack's Deluxe Aggression and frustrates me. That's a custom Punk there. I got a few custom AEW Punks, I guess. Got that one in the Muay Thai shorts. There's an All Out in his white attire. I actually do really like that Sammy Guevara figure. Not really a fan of him, but I think that figure's very nice. Was that All In that he wore the long black? I forget now. That was a custom too, though. I did repaint that sculpt. I thought that was a really nice sculpt by them, by Jazzwares. See anything else notable in here? I think that about wraps it up for the AEW shelf. Not a lot relative to WWE, but there's not as much to work with. That's a custom acclaimed MJF back there. I do like the Jay White. Jazzwares does plenty of stuff well. It just feel like they leave a lot on the table. There's a better shot of my Kyle Fletcher and the other Kyle Fletcher I've made. And I've got another one coming as part of Aussie Open, but that is the AEW, ROH, a little bit of TNA collection there. On to the big one. All right, so we're starting up top here, and I made these first two rows my like NWA, WCW, and then I guess ECW's in here as well. So just not WWE essentially is what I was going for. And what I tried to do with my big shelf here is make it so I've got, like, I tried to spread out everything as much as possible. And then for the most part, every row has a lot of room on it so that I can just put someone on the shelf. I don't have to make a lot of adjustments. And that's why the front rows are so spaced out. But I'm gonna do more specific showcases to get to every figure because there are so many and I'm not gonna get through every one. So I'll just kind of point out like some as I go. But this top here is, like I said, NWA, AWA, just pre WWF taking over everything. There's Great Muda, beautiful figure. My custom Varsity Club in there. Sting, there's a Ronnie Garvin. That Ric Flair's not all the way done. That's an Ultimate Edition I'm working on. That's the Target Dusty Rose. We got it with a basic ring. I fixed up my Memphis Jerry a little bit. And like I said, this down to here is Attitude Era WCW. So I started trying to just put the NWO on this end. There's that Monday Night Wars Hogan there. Actually, I hate the leg mold for this DDP. I like the figure. The head sculpt awesome. Those legs just aren't aren't right. There's the Disciple that we're getting a re-release of. Ultimate Edition Steiner I threw together a while ago. Russo, Chronic. It's my Glacier. There's my cruiserweight section there. You can see Prince Iaukea, Blitzkrieg, Jushin Liger. Got a Hoovy in there. My little Park I redid. Chavo. Alright, we gotta move my ladder over here. I always think, and my garage is like 18 feet long, I'm pretty sure. I would love to have one of those rolling ladders like you see in old library, like movies or just depictions. That'd be so fun to have for my figure shelves. Here's my Road Warriors I made. Barry Windham. And here's kind of that tail end. So there's some new gen stuff at the end here just to kind of fill the shelf out. Like I was saying, I did put Aldo Montoya and Justin Credible together. This is the ECW portion, obviously. There's Mortis, Chavo, Psychosis back there. There's a Filthy Animals, Rey Mysterio. There's that Blitzkrieg. I don't know how much will all be up here before. Well, I don't know how much will be posted on the channel before you guys see this collection video. And movement again. Okay, had to adjust. So once we get to the lower levels, it'll be a little bit easier. But here's the start of the golden era. So the first top two shelves over there are like the WCW, not WWE. And then top two shelves over here, kind of golden era into the new gen era. And I don't have as many customs for this era of WWE. I've gotten around to sound like I did the Rockers. I feel like WWE were pretty well represented for the golden era, so there hasn't been a lot I wanted to make. Those are my custom Rockers I made. Really like how those turned out. I did make a custom Barbarian to go with, or not, Warlord. No, Barbarian to go with Warlord. Let's see, that's a custom 1-2-3 kid. There's some Sean's in there. Spark Plug Bob Holly. There's an Owen Hart I'm gonna do. There's a Marty Jannetty back there. So there you can see this is new gen era. There's my my Royal Rumble Bulldog hidden in there. Steiners are beautiful figures. The new gen's one that I've made some customs. Obviously, we're not the genius. Down there you can see I made a Haku. If that's not up yet, it'll be on Work in Progress Wednesday soon. Killer B is up there. But this was the era that got me into wrestling originally, so I always have a soft spot for it. I would never consider it my favorite, but obviously you got to start somewhere. So now that I don't need the ladder, we'll go in a little bit better chronological order. Okay, so here is the start. So the top two shelves there, WCW, then separated into WWE. Everything else is just going to go by era here. So we've got the new gen, and I do have so there's Bart Gunn, and then actually on my desk here, here's Bart Gunn. I got to paint that head sculpt up, and that'll go up next to Billy, Savio Vega, the Godwins. Ton of new gen customs because we don't get as many figures there from new generation. There's my Ludwig Borga I just made recently. There's a Ken Shamrock. I'm going to paint that one. I've got all the Ken Shamrocks. I've got the green attire there, so that one I'm going to end up painting black. Just haven't gotten around to it yet. So that Ringside Mankind is so nice. My DX Mike Tyson there. Nation of Domination. Chainsaw Charlie I think that figure is fantastic. There's a couple custom X-Pacs in there. I think those are both from X Factor. My X Factor just incredible. Obviously this is the Attitude Era here. So it's just like reading a book. We go left to right and then we go top to bottom. So Attitude Era. Gotta paint up my Gangrel there. There's a bunch of customs in here that have not been a work in progress Wednesday yet, so sneak peek. I don't know when this will get posted, so I don't even know which ones will be up and which won't. There's Lita and S.A. Rios. I think I did do them on the channel. Draws. I love Attitude Era mid-card customs. Those are some of my favorite ones to do. The mid-card is so important to the Attitude Era. And it looks like I'm missing someone there. I don't know who was on the shelf there. There's my current custom TNA. There's Spike Dudley there. Canyon. Let's see. Lance Storm. I think that's in his Un-Americans attire. And then here's that like Invasion era, getting to the Ruthless Aggression era. Let's see, where did that? Oh, see my Jericho here. I torso swap with the Austin torso. Give him a little bit larger torso there. And then we're gonna go all the way back to the start of the Ruthless Aggression era here. This Target exclusive Hogan was awesome. I thought it was a spot on for that version of Hulk. Tyson Tomko, that one day I will complete. Bunch of Triple H's. The Triple H figures that are on my desk over there are gonna fill in the spot here. Some Eddies. Randy Orton in the attire we should have gotten him in the Ultimate Edition they're giving us of him in the exact same blue attire that they already gave us. Should have been this attire. Should have been this look, that belt. I don't know why they gave us the same thing. There's a custom Kurt Angle, Eugene. Some of the big men that SmackDown really tried to get over. There's my custom A-Train. Chris Masters gonna fix that one up. This is one of my favorites. Edge in that Rob Zombie red look. Cena with the jersey patches and everything from Curb Stomp. WrestleMania 20, one of my personal favorite WrestleManias. There's a Trucker, Big Show, Undisputed Champion. Got Cena with the Celtics jersey back there. I think I got that from Threadhead Clothing. My custom Team Angle, which I want to make again. I think I could do a much better job. I'll probably make some Ultimate Editions of them. Spirit Squad. I just had someone ask me my formulas for them, and I use all the same pants legs and then tried to just adjust their height with torsos and whatever I could. Those were a massive pain, but they were fun. By the end, I was okay. Here's Tajiri, Akio, and Sakota, or his later this is Sakota, Akio, and then Jimmy Wang Yang. So that was his singles run. I didn't know for the longest time that was the same person. It's my WrestleMania 19 Rey Mysterio. Got the Highlanders up there, and I need to finish those. The Kendrick and London, the Hooligans, who I've debated with people whether or not that was their actual tag team name or if they had one. There's Rosie. Again, I use those patches, or I guess they're like stickers from Curb Stomp decals to get that on there. This Big Show, I think, is one of the best Mattel figures we've ever gotten. I think it's, I don't know what about it specifically, if it's the head sculpt. I just think they nailed that figure. Mr. Kennedy, Orlando Jordan back there with the Bashams, JBL's cabinet, Armando Alejandro Estrada. We got another Edge. This is in the purple attire. That same look as the red, just same design as the red, just in purple. We need more Booker T's. And we also need to even out this shelf. But nonetheless, Muhammad Hassan, got a Monty Brown. Was he Marcus Corvon in WWE and Monty Brown in TNA? Gemini, I don't remember what their names were. Here's kind of my tail end of the Ruthless Aggression era before I kind of stopped watching, and then they moved into the PG era. So I was still loosely watching. I remember CM Punk debuting, loving it. So I really like that Ultimate. Got my Jeff Hardy Ultimate. Paul Burchill Custom, which I think is okay, but I don't have any desire to go back and fix it up to make it better. I don't. Some customs, I'm just like, yeah, it'll do. That's how I feel about that Paul Burchill one. My Alex Riley to go with Miz. I have so many. This Punk head sculpt we got with the Ultimate looks great. So I did like 15 Punk customs on Work in Progress Wednesday at once. That was one of them. I like those Ultimate heads to pop on. It's my Money in the Bank CM Punk. It's my Elite Nexus all in there. There's another. This Punk is my pile driver Punk when he had that WWE Championship match with Cena on Raw. Husky Harris. I don't know how many attires we're actually going to get from Mattel, like from the PG era for Punk. So I have no issue making a bunch of customs. There's my ring attire, Corey Graves. This is like my NXT NXT chunk. So for the most part, this is all black and gold NXT, but it is fudged around a little bit just to even out the shelves. So the shelf below does have some NXT stuff on it too, but there's Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, loved Asuka in NXT. Some of the underrated figures, I think right here, these Ascension figures I think are so nice. Elite Lars Sullivan there, that was custom. Here's the camo Undisputed era. Again, Sanity is one of my favorite collections. I like them in NXT. They grew on me, but that group as a figure collection, I love. Custom Mustache Mountain. And then we have Imperium here. And a bunch of, here's some Legado del Fantasma customs before they became the LWO. And then there's the red War Games attire. Kind of see. It's hard to see. This is the red attire War Games for Undisputed Era there. Got a few of their figures. And moving on back here to the reality era of wrestling. Okay, so on to one of my least favorite periods of wrestling here. I stopped watching for a while, got back into it. That's my WrestleMania 30 Ultimate Custom of Bryan there. When I was getting back into wrestling, I don't even remember why. I think it was because I saw The Rock was at WrestleMania, and I started watching again leading up to WrestleMania 29. And it was cool to have Rock back, and then I just kind of stuck around, and I've been stuck around ever since. I love this Bray Wyatt. Loved the Wyatt family. Here's the Amazon takeover we should never have gotten of Christian. Even though the head sculpt is nice, I was so pissed we got that figure. Anyway, so like getting back into wrestling, I was watching, you know, we had like the Dudleys come back. That was a cool one for me. The New Day was awesome, but for the most part, this somehow managed to, like, I started watching wrestling again, and this era was so promising for me, and then just kind of burned me out again. And I didn't stop. I obviously I have a YouTube channel with this gigantic collection, so I didn't just stop watching wrestling, but I was pretty just kind of bleh about wrestling, even though I enjoyed a lot of the characters. And for whatever complaints I have about AEW, it was a breath of fresh air for wrestling, and that has really sparked my... It brought the spark back and has given me enough, so we're here. I do have this Cena with a custom shirt, and I've got the US belt. I spent a lot of time searching for Invisible Cena, only for us to get it as an Elite. I really liked Rusev. Him and Bray Wyatt, I'm both disappointed in when they lost at Mania to Cena. Just part of me just being mad and burnt out on it. And like I said, this shelf here, this is kind of like the like WrestleMania 32-ish. These were from these attires they wore at NXT TakeOver Dallas, and I think that was WrestleMania 32, which I went to, and was not a great WrestleMania, but it was still my first and only time I guess I've gone to WrestleMania. I've been trying to rack up my New Day collection here. I just completed the American USA attires there. There's the 32 Budios 3-pack New Day, Shinsuke. All these, I think all of these were NXT TakeOver Dallas. Shane McMahon. So obviously this is just the more like current collection. Velveteen Dream, who I made that custom in what could have been, but nonetheless, moving on. Gargano and Ciampa, got them with the belts there. List Jericho, another Adam Cole, Ricochet, which I still think is one of Mattel's better figures. Got a bunch of Rollins over here. These are, for the most part, like I try to just put them as the like pre-Messiah Rollins. My AJ Styles collection here. But we're almost to the end here as we go through the get to the current roster. We're almost there. So we've got like all the cruiserweights, 205 Live here on the back, and then we've got Balor and AJ and Gallows and Anderson there. There's my 205 Live crew. Lucha House Party Customs are some of the, customs figures are some of my like underrated favorites is a good way to put it. That TJP, I did paint up the shoes a little bit. I bought that TJP on my honeymoon in California. My wife and I we drove from San Francisco to LA over a week, just kind of enjoyed everything, and we stopped at a Toys R Us, and I got that TJP. So shout out to my honeymoon, I guess, and my wife for supporting this habit. Enzo and Cass here. That's a nice, that Dolph Ziggler figure is awesome. I think the Chase is the pink version. I prefer the black. We got a pink Dolph there. Anyway, that is a custom Bobby Roode kind of match as their Dirty Dogs attire. The, the Bludgeon Brothers, I thought was a weird gimmick, but also whatever you want to do to put those two together to annihilate people I was cool with. Edge figures. There's a my custom Brood Edge. And then these are the New Day that I put on the front of the shelf. I had custom shirts for them, and they all match really well. And that Stevie Wonder look cracks me up with those Xavier figures, so threw them on the front there. Ricochet. Mattel made nice Ricochet figures. I wish things would have worked out better for him in WWE. I enjoyed him in NXT a lot. what, Retribution? Is that what they were? Gonna make a Slapjack to finish that group up. There's these cords are for my my vacuum and my overhead light, so just keep that plugged in there. These are all, I have so many Rollins in here. There's that Clash at the Castle Rollins, and then I have a ton of customs, and I have a bunch more I want to make. I just haven't gotten around to it yet. That Asuka, Bill and his Japanese girls, these beautiful figures. Absolutely love those figures. I put all my Bray Wyatt Fiends and whatnot up here. I really liked his original gimmick, and I felt like they could have done a lot more with it. Just Bray Wyatt in general. I know not everyone's into the spooky stuff. There's what's it, Dexter Lumis, Mercy Buzzer. Gonna pick up those the rest of those when I can. Then we got Judgment Day to finish things out. Nothing special up there, I guess. Bunch of Cody's. And then we will get to the final shelf here. So this is, for the most part, this is all current people. There might be some, like Shotzi. She's not with the company. The Hit Row. I love the figures all together. Even got a custom Swerve in there instead of just the basic, but like they're not in there. For my Halloween work on Progress Wednesday, I will be making a Ghostbusters Zack Ryder or Matt Cardona to go with that Chelsea figure. There's main roster: Imperium, LA Knight, Kevin Owens. I love all the Rey Mysterios we get. There's AJ and his weird pants look. I still don't know. Maybe I just didn't pay attention. No idea why he came back wearing dress pants and wore them as long as he did. Jey Uso, Jimmy Uso. I did put one of my Jazzwares Pentas over here until I get his Mattel. Whoops. There we go. I do have Hedoration's head sculpts on there. Painted those up and swapped on his sculpts instead of the Mattel ones. I did not like the Mattel ones. Creed Brothers there, which I will not, they're significantly different than what we're going to be getting from Mattel. So I'll keep those, maybe just move them to the NXT shelf. There's some Punks. Which one is this? Oh, there's Hell in a Cell. And then I think that was just a normal Mattel one. Jacob Fatu. I want to make a custom. I just cannot figure out what I want to do formula-wise. I picked up this Jey Uso, which is where the Money in the Bank briefcase is from there. But I've been picking up more basics and 2-packs, and I think part of it is just how ridiculous the pricing has gotten on elites and stuff. This is a custom. Both of these are customs. I guess I did pick up this elite for all the doodads it came with, but these were both customs, and I had not a lot of desire to pick up the Ultimate Editions. That's a custom head sculpt there on Roman. All these Bloodline figures were so fun to collect. That's a custom shirt there on the Jimmy. But all we have left now is the kind of mostly NXT. So we've got, these are the Cenas I've got so far. Invisible Cena's there. And then I picked up these two. I really like that the shirts don't have Velcro on the back. They're just stretchy enough. The Cenas we've been getting, I love the upgrade we've gotten, but also the actual figure themselves haven't changed, so it almost annoys me a little bit how, I mean, it's John Cena, so of course they're gonna get as much merchandise out of him as they can. and I'm just buying them, so can't talk too much. It's my custom Lexus King alongside the Mattel version, custom Javon Evans, Charlie Dempsey. I did get the Chase and normal Axiom. There's a Ricky Starks, took one of his figures. I need to get the Thea Hale figure. Thea Hale is my custom. So I need to finish the jacket there, but my Elite Nathan Frazier. Here's Torn Pec Cody. And I got Scuda over here to finish up. Like I said, this is mostly TNA or NXT, and then it bleeds over into current TNA. Trey Miguel, Moose. Now Ace Austin is in AEW now. The Tony D'Angelo figure, I don't love the torso, but with the jacket and everything, I think is pretty sweet. Trick Williams, Steve Macklin, Eric Young there. And then, okay, so there's a few more NXT on the front. So there's Ilya. There's my custom Ethan Page, which I think Hedoration's head sculpt on this is way better. I don't like the Mattel Ethan Page sculpt. I think I commented on a post on Instagram saying I thought it looked like when Triple H dresses up as Vince McMahon and has the wig and everything on. That's what I think that Ethan Page looks like, and I just don't see him in that sculpt. So I've just kept, I passed up on his figure at the store because I'm really happy with mine. I think that sculpt is spot on. But then my New Japan collection here, Yota Tsuji, Hiromu Takahashi. This is my custom Obafemi. Hiroki Goto. United Empire in here. There's Fletcher. Mark Davis, Sonata, a couple of customs of him. My Jeff Cobb, or JC Mateo, as he's known now. And I did put these up front. I know that Shinsuke is obviously not in New Japan or NXT or anything here, but I want to put that. I think, I don't know if it was this or the red attire he wore against Great Muta in his last match. This Muta figure is just rad. Obviously, Bill talks all the time about how much he would have loved to do Great Muta, and then he got the chance and he hit a home run, hit a grand slam. I love the Muta figures we got. Then we get to the Bullet Club collection here. So this is the War Dogs here, but then we've also got OG Bullet Club. This is my custom Naito. Love how that turned out. A couple Kennys there. Finn Balor, or Prince Devitt, Bad Luck Fale, Jay White, Kota Ibushi. No, he's not in the Bullet Club. Cody Hall. A few Kennys. And then at the very end here is my All Japan collection. So we've got, I put Cactus Jack and Vader over here, but then we've got the Four Pillars, which I did my Work in Progress Wednesday on. Stan Hansen in there. It'll be on the Work in Progress Wednesday at some point if he hasn't been already. It's my custom Juice Robinson that I'd made a while back. I don't know. I'll pick up the Jazzers one eventually, but I'm really happy with mine. Gallows and Anderson. This one was like early Bullet Club Kenny. Tama Tonga there. But for the most part, that's it. That's the collection. I'll step back here. You can see the whole wall. My whole back wall of my garage is one gigantic shelf. So if you have stuck around to the very end here, I appreciate it. Like I said, I'm going to be doing a bunch of showcases just to show off the eras, the tag teams and everything in more specific detail so you can see everything. I know I just went over each shelf, just showed you piece by piece a few things, but that is everything. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this. I always have a lot of fun showing you guys my collection. If you made it to the end, I appreciate it. Please continue to like, share, subscribe, and remember, you can't buy happiness, but you can buy more action figures. Figure Dude out.